From Transformers Studio Series Gamer Edition, this is the War for Cybertron Autobot Ratchet, one of my favorite Ratchet designs ever, and I'm really happy that they made this guy. You can see here, we got the figure here, so you can go boo-boo-boo-boo-boo-boo. You also got the robot here. Here on the side, Ratchet freaking out, looking like, you know, straight out of the Xbox 360 days, with his somehow both too many polygons and too little polygons. I don't know what's wrong here. And then over here, you got the robot mode, you got the car mode, you got the backdrop, you got him holding the axe. Video game inspired, scale, detail, and backdrop. Icon attack. Ratchet activates the planetary blasters to take down the Decepticon forces. Yeah, that was what that level was about, right? Yeah, and then they fight Starscream. It's him, Bumblebee, and Optimus. That's like the first Autobot level. And then here he is, looking both very fit and very unfit at the same time, as Ratchet is wont to do. I'm excited to get this guy out, so why don't we go ahead and open the box up. Look, if we're going to talk about Gamer Edition, let's just run down the list, okay? War for Cybertron Optimus was near perfect as a toy, but Bumblebee and Barricade were really rough. War for Cybertron Megatron literally made me want to give up on the War for Cybertron toys. Later on, you would get Starscream and Sideswipe, and they were both solid, completely fine, with some minor issues here and there. Ratchet, in a lot of ways, to me, was like the final chance. I really love this design. Ratchet's one of my favorite Autobots. I wanted this toy to be good. And I'm happy to say, it's pretty good. You get Ratchet out of the box and he's dynamic. He's full of life. He has many joints and they're all good feeling. The articulation is smartly designed. The proportions are solid, though I will talk about the arms in just a minute. And there's also just the undeniable nostalgia for me seeing this Ratchet brought back. You gotta remember, animated and Prime Ratchet for a long time was my favorite character in all of Transformers. I can't tell you how many times I replayed the first level of the Autobot side for War for Cybertron just to play as Ratchet. And I would always use the sniper rifle, and it got to a point where I literally knew where the bad guys would spawn from, and I would just take them out as soon as they showed up. This was my favorite game for a very long time. Ratchet, being a character I liked so much, made that one of my favorite levels to play. The same reason why I was so heartbroken about that War for Cybertron Megatron is the reason why I'm so enamored with this Ratchet. It's everything I want out of the toy. The toy has a sense of nobility and poise to him. It's very befitting of an old veteran like Ratchet. And in terms of proportions, there's only one thing I can dislike, and it's the arms. He has very, very, very long arms, and it's to facilitate that arm swap gimmick for the weapon. I hate that gimmick for the whole line. I know it's accurate to the games, but it's actively making the toys worse. I would prefer they not have the ability to swap out the guns for the arms. That said, I think he's wearing it well. The white plastic is helping cover up some of the awkwardness here in the proportions. And the rest of the body is perfect. Stocky torso, good long legs, a little bit of a barrel chest. Perfect for Ratchet. And the posability is not letting down either. You see, you have a good ball joint in the head. It is very tight, but you get a lot of good use out of it. You have a universal in the shoulder, and you have this armor caught on its own arm that can get out of the way for you. You have an upper arm cut, a good single joint elbow, and a wrist swivel. You have a waist, again, pretty tight. Universal at the hip, a good, well, actually the cut's down here for the knee, but a single joint knee past that, and ruckers and up and down at the toe. For a good boxy guy like Ratchet, that's great articulation. And it helps that he has such a sharp head sculpt. He looks like he's always kind of frustrated, but he is on call. Seriously, look at that head and tell me you don't think Ratchet would scream at you for coming on his yard. This Docbot can strike a pose, which is amazing. It helps that you have a couple of good accessories to use for him, one of which being the Medi-Gun. This is what allows you to heal your teammates in War for Cybertron. It's perfect that they gave Ratchet this gun. Now, he can hold it like a normal gun, like so. It's a very loose grip, and it does look a little bit blocky. It's because, of course, you're supposed to take the arm off and put it in like so. And sure, it does make a better look for the gun. But man, all I can think about is how many of these Ratchets are going to end up on eBay with no arms in a few years. It's a neat trick, but it's at the cost of the toy. Again, my biggest complaint with all of these Gamer Edition War for Cybertron figures is I wish they just didn't even bother with the arm swap. I'm already seeing Bumblebees and Cliff Jumpers on eBays with no arm. I don't want to know what it's going to look like in a few years. But hey, no such complaints with Ratchet's Battle Axe, looking amazing and the correct colors. I will admit, I thought that this was going to be a repack of Optimus's axe, but no, completely new weapon to scale better with Ratchet. Speaking of scale, here he is alongside the Gamer Edition Optimus and Bumblebee. These three look perfect, and now that we have all three, you can recreate the first level of War for Cybertron on the Autobot campaign side. In fact, why don't we toss just a couple more people in here? Sorry about that, it just felt wrong to not have Sideswipe here too. I love having these four together. And yes, they also did Cliff Jumper, but Cliff Jumper wasn't in War for Cybertron, he was in Fall of Cybertron.
Actually, maybe you would know that if you actually played the games.
But yeah, you should know, I like having these four together. And yeah, Bumblebee's not the best, but Sideswipe is a very good deluxe, Optimus is incredible, and Ratchet, well, he's a lot closer to Optimus than Sideswipe. I don't know if I would call him the best Ratchet ever or the best Voyager ever, but he's good. He's very good. And I want to see what that vehicle mode is like. I don't know why, but this thing kind of reminds me of a cheeseburger patty, just in shape and size, and how much I want to eat it. The transformation's good. Is it fun? Well, I think parts of it are very fun, but there's a lot of panels at work here, and it can be kind of annoying just trying to get everything together. Even now, I feel like I look over and see another place where this could pop together a little bit easier, at least for me. That said, it does give you a great looking car mode. I've always loved the War for Cybertron aesthetic for vehicles. This is such a wonderful, kind of souped up, armorized future car. I love that you have the little medical logos there, just so you can really know, yep, this guy is for the doctors. I like how this Ratchet looks. To me, he is what I remember animated Ratchet Cybertron mode looking like. I just got that toy back in my life recently, transformed him, and I was like, this isn't what I remember. As it turns out, this is a little bit closer to that. Just a cool looking future car that looks like it could go onto any terrain. I like this guy a lot, and honestly, doing this transformation, it reminds me of possibly my favorite toy of all time. A lot of the transformation really reminds me of War for Cybertron Soundwave, and not to bring up all the bad memories, but yeah, that Soundwave means a lot to me. He is possibly my favorite toy. He's right up there with my 2007 movie Cliff Jumper. The difference is, this guy made it through my childhood. He survived with me. And I've always thought about just getting a new version of him. I would never get rid of this guy. He's always going to be my favorite. He's always going to have a place on my shelf, but I would like a newer version, one that I could play with and not have to be worried about potentially losing something or breaking. And I'm starting to see a little bit of that here. And a part of me almost wants to dare to dream, maybe one day, this toy, that is very, very good, maybe that becomes a new version of him. But for the time being, I'm happy to settle for a Ratchet. I want to put him in here alongside my Studio Series 86 Ratchet. And I'll be honest, guys, there was something about this Ratchet that just was always wrong. Not wrong, I loved it, and this was the Ratchet I thought I always wanted, but there was something missing for me. It's this. I wanted this Ratchet, or a Ratchet that made me think this. This is the Ratchet that helped inspire so many of his designs in More Than Meets the Eye. This is a Ratchet that has the red helmet, like animated Ratchet. This Ratchet just has so much that I like and want out of Ratchet. And it reminds me of the days that I was playing War for Cybertron a lot, and I was having so much fun. This might be my new favorite Ratchet, and I'm really, really happy that, well, I just got to play with him for a little bit, and now he's a part of the collection. He's gonna stay here, and every time I want to pick up a Ratchet, he's gonna be around. And besides, it's good to see the boyfriends together.